Chaotic greetings to you. If I can solve just one problem for everyone in the vintage sewing world, it would be to only find patterns that are in our size. However, due to survivor bias, that is not the case because the ones that stayed around and are still available today are the ones you bought when you were younger. You bought 3 of them and you only used 1 of them, and that one that we bought when you were an actual child is the one that lasted through the years. So unfortunately, patterns that are my size are not common until today. I just found this pattern. And by I found, I mean one of you lovely subscribers sent this to me, and I want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you! This is a bust 50 from the mid-1940s, and I am so happy that I get to make it today. Because you see, usually, most of my time in the early stages of these videos is me having to size up the pattern. I don't have to do that today, and I'm so happy! Ah! I'm literally so happy I'm almost crying. So, I adore this little scallop top situation of this shirtwaist dress. I'm not keen on the proper 1940s skirt. However, there's a simple solution for this. When in doubt, add a gathered skirt. And today's video is brought to you by Nola Mattress, but more on them in a little bit. And to go along with this lovely 1940s pattern, I went to the Chaos Crew. That's right, my members here on YouTube and on Patreon help me choose the fabric today. This red and Christmas combo. So I will be doing the bodice out of this wonderful vintage window pane style fabric, which honestly is the one fabric that I actually don't fear cutting into that's vintage. You wanna know why? It's already bled onto itself from where I washed it the first time many years ago, so guess what? I'm not nervous to cut into this at all. And this red fabric that is also, I believe, vintage, potentially. Either way, nice solid cotton red for the skirt bottom. And this video is also a collaboration with my friend, Amber, who also is going to be making the exact same bodice because I traced it out and sent it to her. So make sure that when you're done watching here, you head on over to her channel and watch her version. So let's get to cutting out. And lucky for me, it just barely fit. And when I say this barely fits on here, I truly mean barely. But with them both squeezed on there, it was time to cut them out. And if you learn only one thing from this video, know this: 1940s patterns do not give you much information. Not only do they like to hide the information that's standardly on the back of the envelope in the instructions inside, but they also don't have a whole lot of instruction, period. This is because a lot of the innate knowledge that was taught through schooling was not necessarily needed to be laid out in the pattern instructions as well, like they are with our modern patterns. So yes, the entirety of the instructions for this dress are on the bottom half of one page, where it has my favorite thing I've ever read in an instruction packet. Make-a the dress is what it sounds like to me. So make-a the dress I did. By moving on to tearing my skirt pieces apart. These are left over from Miss Frizzle. If you know, hi, thank you for still being here. Now we snip and move on. Haha. Now something very key for these moments is to remember that when you do that, your fabric will probably end up looking like that. Because now you have pulled it off of grain, so you have to pull it back onto grain. And yes, you really should do this. You really should. Stares it past me, knows that I didn't used to do it. So because I have turned it into this like trapezoidal shape, that means I'm gonna take short side to short side, and I'm gonna go pull, pull, pull. Not too hard though. But if you do that a few times, you will get, slowly but surely, a piece that actually is aligned. See, we're not quite there yet, but I'll do it a few more times, and we'll get it back to the shape it's supposed to be. Is this one of the rare ones I shouldn't have done this to? Whoops. Too late now! But that wasn't going to stop me from cutting out the rest of my pieces. and I started with the facings. And because I was so low on fabric, I did have to change up the direction from the instructions as to which direction the facing for the sleeve went. They wanted you to use the weft threads for the straight of grain, and because I didn't have enough fabric, I had to use the warp. Which means, please don't ever turn up my sleeves because everything is 90 degrees the wrong direction. But thankfully the bodice facing is the correct way. But pinning this down was not without incident. Ah! Because I had distinctly forgotten a large square that had been cut from the bottom of one of my pieces, and well, that caused problems. But with a quick adjustment, I was able to fit them both on and cut it out. But now that that's all taken care of, let's go relax a little bit with the sponsor of today's video, NOLA Mattress. NOLA Mattress is an award-winning mattress brand. And you may have seen them on this channel before because they already gave me and my husband a wonderful new mattress to sleep on. But this time they were nice enough to send my child an upgrade as well. Now we went with the NOLA Evolution Plush. And let me tell you right now, if this were my bed, you would not get me out of it. It's so comfortable. It's marshmallow approved too. Known for its cooling technology, exceptional pressure relief, and long-lasting durability. Now my child used to be one that would get out of bed at the crack of dawn, mainly because they didn't enjoy their bed all that much. However, with this new NOLA mattress, it is a struggle to get my child out of bed, because they are just so comfortable in their new soft and plush mattress. And the best part, NOLA does deliver the mattress directly to your door with free shipping in the US. It comes in a handy little box, all rolled up, nice and easy to move to the location that you need it to be in, and then it magically comes into life into being a real size mattress. And you get a 120 night sleep trial. That way you can ensure that you love your NOLA mattress. And it also comes with a limited lifetime warranty. We love our NOLA mattresses, and I think you would too. So if you want to upgrade your sleep today, head to nolamattress.com/StephanieCanada and use code StephanieCanada at checkout to receive an extra $50 off of your next mattress. And yes, this is a discount that applies on top of whatever sale they are running at the time. And if you want to support the channel even a little bit more, there is a post survey where you can tell them that Stephanie Canada sent you. And thanks again to NOLA for sponsoring today's video. But now, let's go back to the project. Hoorah! Well, now that it's all cut out, it is time to do the very silly thing that I personally like to do. In this case, partially because of need, and partially because I can't find any other color of Friction pen other than my red pen. So now let's go ahead and thread mark some of the notches that are in my perforated / unprinted tissue, because yes, I've seen them listed as all of those things. And thread marking or tailor tacking is really quite simple. It's an alternative to using chalk or pens to mark all of your notches, and the great part about these unprinted pattern pieces is you don't have to make any additional tears in the pattern, because the holes that are pre-punched for you are your marks that you are marking. So there's already a nice little hole in your tissue that you can just feed through to make your mark. And I do always advise using a contrasting color, because the number of times that I have forgotten and used the exact same color and then forgotten to remove thread because I thought it was just a part of the garment is not small. Good morning. It is day number 1 of sewing, and I can't clip this one to my shirt, so we've got a Sharpie. Welcome to the chaos. However, despite as hard as I may have tried with that red fabric, I could never get it to be perfectly into a rectangle. So it took me about an entire day to think about really what I wanted to do. Did I want to pull at it more? Did I want to try and straighten the grain some more? Did I want to iron it some more? The answer to all of those was no, I didn't want to do any of that. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to cut it in half, and I'm going to flip it around so that the side that has the larger portion is on the bottom, and the slightly skinnier is on top, so we're going to make a vague A-line gathered skirt out of necessity. The other thing to note is that while I did mark out all of my pattern pieces, the thing to know with vintage patterns is that sometimes you have to be extra careful that you are looking for all of the notches, because on the facing pieces, there were these handy little like double notch at the bottom, single notch at the top. I don't think on the front piece I marked any of those. So I'm going to go back over those front pattern pieces before I completely separate the two, and we're going to make sure that I have all the notches so I know where everything lines up. But not before engaging the hair tie of concentration. Boom, baby!
Boom, baby!
And after laying out all of my pattern pieces to double check my notches, I had in fact missed a few. With a full bobbin and Christmas in my heart, I started to sew. And miraculously, this didn't get screwed up. And after finding the aforementioned purple missing pen, I decided to put on the pockets. And while I may make this look easy, trust and believe every single time I have a running dialogue to remind myself of every step that I'm supposed to do. Especially on ones when there's a pocket and a zipper involved. And it goes a little something like this. This is the back, then this side should be free. Because I want the pocket in the front. Yeah. So if this is the back, this is all this needs. With my inner monologue extricated from your brain and put out into the world, it's time to put them actually onto the skirt. Now the reason that I speed ran that skirt is because I have somewhere very important to be in about a half hour. So let's head on over. Great shot. Let's go.
A few moments later.
Hi everybody, my name is Stephanie, and I sew. Does anyone know what sewing is?
Much, much, much later.
Well, that was fun. However, my quick little adventure turned into an all-day event. Not all day at the school, but then just like everything else happened. And so now I am woefully behind because it's actually nighttime, and I've only put together this skirt. I haven't, this is a problem. So I do know that I need to finish cutting out the interface piecings for the sleeve.
Wrong.
And the like scallop facing here for the button placket. So I'm gonna do that, and we're gonna see how many brain cells are left to rub together and see if I can do anything else today. But let's go cut out some of this interfacing. Why do I do this to myself? That's a great question. And those last two brain cells were struggling, because you'll see here that I'm about to lay out and cut out of my last lightweight interfacing both facing pieces. This is wrong. I only needed the front interfacing pieces where the button placket goes. I absolutely did not need the ones for the sleeve. And with the gathering stitches taking literally the last scrap of energy that I had, it's time for bed. Good morning. It is day number 2 of Sewing Town, and well, yes, as expected, I did not get a whole lot done last night. I did, however, run all the gathering stitches, and then I remembered something. That the gathering stitches that I did run all last night, they're all done, they're all awesome, they're ready to go. I have to go back through and hand finish all of them and tie them off because they're not going to leave the garment, they're going to remain as a detail. So yeah, anyway, I do have one of them. I tested it out. I don't have the insides tied though for this one yet because I'm not 100% sure that it's the correct like sternum to shoulder measurement, and if I need to adjust it, I want to be able to do that, but I can't do that until I put the sleeve on. And also, this would be the point where I give you the entire list of everything to do, except the list is make the entire dress. Make the dress. This is why I'm not a tutorial channel. I cannot thread a needle on camera. Ta-ta! And now we have a nice shirred look that when you pull it to straighten it, gives these fun little gathered lines. Now with those done, all I need to do is tie off the very top one to the correct length and then sew the shoulders and the sides together so I can start to get a feel for how much the rest of the shirring along here needs to be released so that it fits correctly. Ish. The one I did last night. The one I did just now. They're good to go. Okay, try out number 1. Crappy audio. Deal with me. It's not going to be that long. And I do think this is about right. So I've got enough room for the arms over here. Touch on the higher side for the scallops, but I don't hate it. It's a 40s dress, it's kind of supposed to be that way. So I think this looks pretty good. I ran out of pins, so we're not worried about that. I can probably take these a little tighter, actually, to get them where they need to be. So that's good. So I'll pull these shirrs a little bit tighter on both sides because it's a little droopy there because it's only a ½ inch seam allowance. So, great. Looking good for a taste test? No, don't do that. Anyway, all right, moving on to actually putting it together. ½ inch seam allowance. Bodice is all sewn together now, and I'm just glad they're just gathers and I haven't actually tied down any of the waist ones, so I can adjust it once I pin it all together and finally figure out exactly where these gathers need to be, because there's also a random back dart at the neck that's supposed to be taken. When I pin this all together with the sleeves on and everything before I do the final facing piece, I will try that out, try pinning it out, see if I like it, but I'm like, nowhere on these bloody instructions does it say to put back darts on there. So either the previous owner punched little holes for herself, but they're very clean and they look like they're from the factory. So I think somebody just missed a step. If you've used a vintage pattern, these things happen. But with the bodice done, listen, I am nothing if not extra, even on a time crunch. So I had an idea to cut out these little strips for the skirt, because this is the same fabric from Miss Frizzle, which she's a bright red, and I wanted to find a way to tone it down a little, maybe bring the bodice accent down to the skirt. So added some of this to the bottom. You guys, like, look how cute this is. It's like a little comic strip at the bottom of my skirt. I'm so happy about it. However, I've never sewn a scallop before. Never, not once, not one time, absolutely not. So in my head, you put all the facings on while these pieces are as flat as possible to get you the best curvy scallop that you can get. Someone please tell me why. These instructions want you to sew the sleeve facings after you've turned it into a sleeve already. Like it's already a tube, and then add the facing. Listen, the joys of sewing things, you can make your own order, so there's no way I'm doing that. So, it is now time to do the thing that scares me the most, which shockingly is not setting in these sleeves. It is doing all these scalloped facings. And so I set to task. And while I would love to regale you with all of my nervous energy during this next 10-minute section that I cut out, it didn't fit quite into this video, but I will be releasing the full unedited version to my members and Patreons starting at the beginning of August. Here we go! Oh, I'm nervous. Along with a couple other longer segments from this video that are sure to show you the inside workings of my brain. So if you enjoy that more raw type of content, make sure that you are joining the Patreon or membership by clicking the join button down below. And of course we had to have a marshmallow-sized pause. Ba-dum-ts. Marshmallow. Baby. Hi. What you doing? Let mommy fix your. That's a good boy. Can we go place, please? That's a good boy. Ta-da! I did it. That looks all right. Now I have to trim it, iron it, and then we'll see how it actually looks. Because that's the real question. Do I need to adjust how I sew these on the others, or can I just rinse and repeat this? I don't know yet. And so I set to trimming. However, the nearest scissors to me were far too big. Let's fix that. Yes. Much better. You've never seen sweat drip off of me faster than when I'm asked to clip all the way to a point of which I have sewn. My hands are literally shaking. But I was able to accomplish it. Look at it! They're scallops! They still need a little bit of like zhuzhing. I might actually top stitch them all before I move on to like putting it all together, because I feel like it might wiggle, because I did not understitch this, not even a little. So I think I might top stitch this, but it does work. So let's go rinse and repeat this 3 more times.
2 hours later.
And with all the scallop trimmings now attached where they belong, it was time to trim down the bodice facing pieces, flip it, reverse it, and iron it. And then do my least favorite task. Pick buttons. I like these, but they look like coat buttons. I hate that it's too dark. These feel too small, but they're the right color. Which would you go with? I think I'm gonna have to go with these ones. And now we have come to the Chaos Sewist Guide to Buttonholes. And while I fully intended on giving you a full-on skit for this piece, what actually happened in real life is far funnier. Not only, when I went to go make a buttonhole, did I actually remember which button to push correctly the first time. What I had distinctly forgotten to do is to change out my foot to a buttonhole foot that has the little memory selector already inside its handy little programming. This is gonna be such a bad buttonhole. So I was trying to make a buttonhole. You do have to move though. With my standard zigzag foot. We're not actually moving. It did not go well. You're not moving. Okay, great. But thankfully, before I dove into my actual bodice that I was sewing on, my brain noticed something was wrong. I just did all that without my buttonhole foot. No wonder it didn't like it. But of course, the problems weren't done there. I don't know if I have enough thread to do this again. Dear viewer, in fact, she did not have enough thread. She will realize this in 3, 2, 1. I don't have enough thread to do this. Yeah, I should have switched to white. Okay. And now for the icing on the proverbial cake. Oh, okay, listen, that was the correct choice. There's like nothing on there. Yeah, this is the right call. Okay.
A few moments later.
And with a fresh white bobbin all threaded up, it was time to get sewing with the appropriate foot and with all the memory coded for these buttonholes. Not bad. And now that I have conquered the mighty Buttonhole Mountain, don't make it weird. It's time to do the last couple of steps, which are attach the sleeves to the bodice, go ahead and put bodice to the skirt, and then install the side zip because there's no placket on this to give it the opening there, so it's both a button and a zipper combination. And then call Amber. Hello!
Hey!
How's it going?
Great, how about you?
Adventuresome as always. Ooh, I like the sneak peek that I can see. Okay, that's your video. We should go watch your video for that one.
How long did it take you to do yours?
Longer than I'd care to admit. Listen, I've never sewn a scallop before, so that was completely new, and I was letting the fear get the better of me. I don't know about you, but this was another one of those moments in life where you go, Dear 1940s sewing humans, might I have thou brain? Because where wast the instructions?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm used to, like, sparse, but this was non-existent.
Yeah.
So, this is how mine came out. Hang on, we'll do it better. We'll do this better.
And you chose red. I love it. It's beautiful.
Now, the part you can't see that I'll sneak up here on camera. So I added the little strip from here to the entire bottom of the skirt. I like how it turned out, actually. Like, cute. It's too big is a good problem to have, right? I'm gonna keep reminding myself of that. You know, then I ditched, you know, we talked about this, I ditched the skirt entirely. I just made a gathered skirt, and I kept measuring the waist, and measuring the skirt, and pinning, and like, to make sure that it was a vaguely correct waist, and I still managed to make it at least 4 inches too big. And I was like, Dear Canada, do you know how to measure? Are you confused? But I had a really fun time with this challenge. How about you? And to get the full scoop on how Amber's project went, make sure that you go to her channel and check out her video when it goes live. Well, I just finished up my conversation with Amber, and my audio failed twice, so we're just gonna go with the backup mic. And I just wanna say that while this challenge was super fun, I love being challenged in new projects, and these scallops definitely count as a challenge. I'm not 100% sure if I will make this one again. I am gonna keep it around though for a while, just in case, because you never know when you have a desire for the scallops. But overall, I do think that this pattern gave me some really good challenges. It really challenged my ways of thinking. Like when I thought I could make the straight of grain straight on the skirt and was only proven wrong, and then I just flipped it around. I learned some things, I had a good time, and now I have a fun new Christmas dress to wear around this Christmas. And don't forget that if you want to upgrade your sleeping experience, head to nolamattress.com/StephanieCanada and use code StephanieCanada at checkout to receive $50 off of your next mattress. And yes, that is on top of whatever sale they're running. And now, you've all been waiting for it. The time has come. Let's go to the reveal. However, due to Survivus buyer... Ooh, I'm really short. Whatever. That's cool. Can you have a gay person decide where the straight line is? Probably not. That's not enough. Well, that somehow looks worse. Amazing. A little bit and help it feel more quirky. What were those words? Not English. Oh, so glad I opened the microphone and didn't start recording.